Gotta go down and get the Doritos. Drake? What? Where's the door hole?
Goes right there. See, I drew it with a magic marker.
You were supposed to cut it out with the power saw.
Dude, I'm gonna.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So go get the power saw.
Okay, I will. I see the problem.
Oh, do ya?
Hello there! Playing Overcame here with a very unique video. 2 years ago, when the Crown Tundra dropped in Pokemon Sword and Shield, I was talking with some friends in my Discord server about a situation I found myself in with My Pokemon Ranch. For those who don't know, My Pokemon Ranch is a WiiWare title, and part of a series of auxiliary Pokemon Box software, this one being Generation 4's equivalent. Basically, you can store Pokemon in it, and they'll walk around doing weird things. It's a glorified Mii channel, but you can get some unique animations depending on what's in there, so I'd say it's an improvement over other box software at the very least, although not by much. You can also trade with the game's professor equivalent, Haley, to get a variety of unique event Pokemon. These trades are among the only ways to get Fiona and Mew, the latter of which has a few unique moves that are only obtainable in this game. However, this software has an extreme design flaw, one of which I fell victim to. It can only store Pokemon from up to 8 save files at a time. It does this to prevent you from stealing Pokemon from other players or something like that, but here's the problem. If you hit 8 trainers, you can't add any more, and you can't remove a trainer without withdrawing every single Pokemon that trainer has. Now, because it had been around a decade since I last used this software, and I've been through numerous life-changing events in that time, and reset a few save files as well, I no longer had any of the save files associated with a trainer in my Pokemon Ranch. Ergo, I couldn't connect to any new game, and even if I did, I couldn't withdraw the Pokemon either. As a result, all of my Pokemon from this time period were locked in my Pokemon Ranch, including my cherished Palkia and Ho-Oh. The Ho-Oh was my first level 100, and my Palkia I wanted to use in the VGC event that year because it just became a relevant Pokemon on Trick Room. I didn't just lose my Pokemon either. Some of my childhood friends used this software as well, and these were my only remaining memories I had of them. Now, while my life has changed, Wiimoting and like have as well, so I went on a weird quest to try and rescue my old memories. I have a thing for preserving all my old Pokemon in Pokemon Home, since, well, it just makes life easier for me. See that 5,900 plus total? Yeah, I'm a hoarder. Sue me. I found out that there were existing methods of extracting Pokemon that aren't yours from my Pokemon Ranch, done by just replacing the trainer IDs of everything via tools, connecting a new game with a respective trainer ID, and withdrawing them all that way. However, because my save file had 8 games hooked up, I couldn't do that because, well, it's full. So I couldn't connect the new trainer ID that would match them. As a result, I had to get technical. The method I worked out would also allow you to transfer Pokemon directly from Ranch to any game you want. Essentially, we're extracting the Ranch save file, yanking out the Pokemon, and slapping them in PKHex to be converted. This method appears to be more efficient than other methods of withdrawing the Pokemon for the purposes of transfer, as the previous method was designed for manually withdrawing the Pokemon, which, at least to me, felt a little wrong, since you'd have to be changing their IDs to do it, so they're no longer really the original Pokemon, are they? Plus, this would mean you need another DS to manually transfer the Pokemon over to Black and White, which is getting agonizing with every passing generation. In practicality, what we're doing is cloning the Pokemon, but again, this is the only way to get them out of the game when all the trainer slots have been exhausted and no new games can connect. If you think that's weird, consider that every 7 years, every single cell in your body is replaced, and also that I really want these Pokemon back in my life. Now that you've been sent into an existential crisis, let's look at what you need. Well, other than therapy. Links to what I used, or an equivalent since this has been 2 years, will be in the description. If you know something more efficient, just leave a comment. Someone may want this, I don't know. Anyway, firstly, you need your console with My Pokemon Wrench on it. This works for the Wii, the Wii Mini, or the Wii U. The consoles will need to be modded, soft or otherwise, to allow for the same game to be extracted. This most commonly requires a 2GB SD card, which will house those tasty mods. You'll need to put this into your PC to get the same file, but if you're like me and your PC doesn't take them, you'll need to get a converter for that as well. They cost like $10 tops and are generally really helpful, so I recommend getting one anyway. To mod your console with that SD card, you'll want to download the HackMe installer to get the homebrew channel up and running. The homebrew software you'll be using is Save Game Manager GX, and that's it. In terms of exploits to actually mod your console, I'll leave links to some tutorials in the description, as they depend on the console you have. For a Wii, use STR2 hacks, for a Wii Mini, use Blue Bomb, and for the Wii U, use Woof hacks. There are probably some aficionados in the comments who know better ways, but these are the most common methods that don't require anything too intensive. I'm not the best tech support for this kind of thing, so if you have issues, there are a lot of Discord servers out there. In terms of PC software, you'll need My Pokemon Wrench tools and PKHex. Pokemon Wrench tools will read your extracted save data and yank out the Pokemon, while PKHex will convert them into an updated file format for you to transfer them elsewhere. So assuming your console's been successfully modded, place Save Game Manager GX into the apps folder on your SD card, which should have the homebrew channel up and running. And now we can get to work. So firstly, launch the homebrew channel on your console and open Save Game Manager GX. Navigate to My Pokemon Wrench and click copy. You'll now have a backup of your save file on your SD card. If you're paranoid like me, why not copy the rest of your ancient save files? May as well, right? Anyway, that's all you need to do on the Wii front. Indeed, it's harder to open it up than it is to get save file out. Isn't modding amazing? Now, crack open the SD card on your PC. You'll see a ton of intimidating numbers in the My Pokemon Wrench folder, but don't fear, all you need is the savedata.bin file. Copy this into the bin folder amongst My Pokemon Wrench tools, which they will use to get your Pokemon back. Next up, navigate to prextractor.exe and open it. It'll ask you if you want the Pokemon sorted by trainer or not. Say yes or no to that, and it'll spit out all the Pokemon through savedata.bin. In my experience, it took a little bit, but that's because I had almost everything filled up in that game. You'll now see a ton of PKM and TNR files in your folder. You only need the PKM files, which you may recognize if you've hacked Pokemon before. Arrange the folder by file type for simplicity. However, you'll be seeing another problem. These Pokemon file names are all just numbers. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with this myself. There's no way to tell which is which, and PKHex can't open multiple Pokemon without a save file, which doesn't include My Pokemon Wrench. What I did was make a trash folder for the next step. Open up PKHex and set the save version to anything before Scarlet and Violet. For some reason at this point in time, the Scarlet and Violet save type cannot read past gen Pokemon files, which is likely because Pokemon Home does that for it, and support has been released at the time of this video's making. The point is, click the game you actually want to send the Pokemon to, which at the moment cannot be Generation 9. Drag the first Pokemon in, wherein it'll show the Pokemon associated. If the Pokemon isn't the one you're interested in keeping, put it in the trash folder. If it's the one you want, go to File, Save Pokemon, and save it into an area you'll remember, because these files will be used to bring your Pokemon back. If you're worried about Generation 9, they can travel to Scarlet and Violet via Pokemon Home after they've been put into your game. These are fully legitimate Pokemon, just clones of what was in Ranch, so as long as you don't edit the files, you're golden. They're just the original Pokemon. Now that you've converted these to a sanitized file type, you can send these Pokemon to your main series games. I have a few hackless methods to share here, but if you've wanted your console, you could just add these to your save file with PKHex. If you have a really old 3DS of versions 9.0 through 9.5 and Pokemon X or Y, you can go to Pokemon QR and drag the Pokemon in to make a QR code. By scanning it with the 3DS system menu camera, the Pokemon will appear in your first box slot, and you can then send that to Pokemon Home. If you're using this method, you'll want to convert your Pokemon to PK6 files by setting PKHex's save version to Pokemon X or Y. If you are playing a Switch era game, you're in luck because Sysbot Discord servers are widespread for this sort of thing. Set the save type to a Gen 8 game, and you can have Pokemon sent to you very easily. I personally recommend Pokemon Central, as their bots have very fast wait times, and they are very transparent with their tutorials and have an all-around helpful community. There are very likely others though, and I believe some exist for Generation 6 and 7, though it seems these are a dying breed. Sword and Shield, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus seem to be the most common Sysbots you can find. Conveniently, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl will contain every Pokemon that you could possibly put in Ranch, so I recommend using these games if you want to do the right method. If you do use a Sysbots server, please be respectful and read all the important details. I've seen too many people not read stuff, test people's patience when told to read, and then get banned for it. They won't let you get illegal Pokemon, they'd have to actually pass the hack checks. For other generations, I'm not aware of any hackless methods. Chances are there are save instances out there that you can use to inject Pokemon into near enough any games, so if you've hacked your system, that option is always there. Once you've done that, well, there you have it. That's how I got through a particularly brutal struggle with my Pokemon wrench. Since then, I've beefed up a ton of my old Pokemon, benefiting hugely from hyper trading and easier EV trading features that have been added since Generation 4's release. It's kind of mind-blowing seeing my old Pokemon in full 3D, and I'm glad to be able to continue using them for a good long time. If any of you happen to use this information, please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear any stories you have. Or join my Discord server and share them there. That's a cool place too, and I'm always there to answer questions. This was Pokemon Karma, and I'll see you all next time.